Hello lovelies. Today I have attempted to make Butterick 4083. This one was really challenging and I hit a lot of bumps in the road and I can't really call it a success. But I did my best and I learned a lot, and this was my first dress that the bodice was fully lined. So I had never done that before. And actually that part wasn't that difficult. Instead, I realized the cut of the dress just isn't the most flattering for my figure type. Nevertheless, I finished it. I do like wearing it. Despite I don't think it's the most flattering thing, I do enjoy wearing it, and I'll wear it this summer definitely, especially during those really hot days. So this pattern is a Catherine Conover New York classification contour. Maybe that's why it's quite a bit more challenging. And it is a 1989 pattern. So yeah, end of the 80s. It's a very cute pattern, but it isn't flattering really for my body type. Nevertheless, I do like wearing it. It feels great. And I love this beautiful little rosette print. It's just so cute. So I'll get a lot of wear out of it, especially in those hot summer evenings. And so I hope you like this video, and I will show you all the steps that I took and the curveballs I encountered and how I did my best to overcome those challenges. I was very hesitant to share this video because I thought, oh, it's kind of a fail, but I think it's good to show that, hey, we're all in a learning journey. And no, we don't have everything figured out. And of course, there's always somebody better, always somebody worse. So just keep on going and show what you have. All right, I hope you like this video. Let's get right into it. So the first step listed in the instructions is, of course, lay out your material and cut it. I've gone ahead and done that. And then they want you to baste in the interfacing, and the interfacing I have made out of like a plain muslin, and I did make sure that it's not going to show through the fabric. But I found that I don't really enjoy using fusible interfacing, and using a stiffer but not too stiff cotton can work as well. So that's what I'm doing with this. Maybe you can tell me if that's something that you've done before, or if people used to do that, because I find that the commercialized fusible interfacing, I just don't like it. Anyway, you can put your thoughts on that, I guess, in the comments. That's what I'm going to try, and I'll find out how it lays. And then, of course, I've drawn in the darts on the front piece, and I have pinned them so I can go and machine stitch them in place. And of course, I like to put pins further out from the dart just to really make sure that I get this piece nice and flat when I go to stitch it in. I find my stitching is much better when I gather the material and pin it about an inch or so even away from the dart. Okay, so after I get the dart stitched and the interfacing around the collar basted in, I will come back and show you that. So I have the interfacing basted in so easily that I can rip out, right? I put it on the largest stitching, and then or the largest stitch length, and then I went ahead and sewed and pressed the darts to the center like it says in the instructions. Okay, let's move on to the next part. Okay, so this is the lining. This particular pattern calls for a bodice and back part full lining, except for the skirt. The skirt isn't lined. So I had to prepare the lining just like I'm doing the outer part. So I've pinned the front darts, and when I cut this piece, because I wanted to make the lining the same fabric as the front part, I actually didn't have quite enough to cut on the fold. So what I ended up needing to do was piece on this little portion. You can see I'm still missing a bit here. Piece this on, and I just sewed it in And this part will be okay because I can just make the seam less than 5/8 of an inch. So I would guess this is maybe 1/2 an inch. So my seam line will be a bit more narrow, but I think it will work just fine. So, because again, this is the lining, you're not going to see it on the outside. Alright, so I'm going to go sew these darts for the lining, and then I also have the back pieces. So I have 4 back pieces, which I have drawn the darts, pinned the darts, and I'm going to sew the darts for the back part of the bodice and lining. And when I have that done, I will show you. Okay, so now I have the lining with the darts finished, and I have the back pieces and the back lining pieces with their darts finished. So now it should be time to put it together. Let's take a look at these instructions here. Okay, so I've done this, I've done this, I've done this. Now stitch bodice back sections and bodice front together at sides. Yes, so I'm going to put those together, stitch them together. Pin back inner facing sections to wrong side of bodice as shown. Baste along seam lines. Trim inner facing close to basting. Okay, alright, so that's what I'm going to do next is just follow these 2 steps and I'll show you the progress. Alright, I've got the inner facing basted in. This was tricky. The original pattern did not actually fit, and I ended up needing, even after I measured it, I had to, as you can see, I cut here and kind of section it in. And here it's definitely not perfect, but the most important part is well supported. So if you end up finding this same pattern, that's something to keep in mind, is that especially when you're upsizing, it was tricky, but I got it figured out and I think it's going to work well. So I basted it in so that I can rip these stitches out after I put the lining in. Okay, yay! So this step is finished. Now I'm ready to start interfacing the back strap section, and then I'm going to stitch that onto the bodice. And yeah, so that's the next part. Lining the back straps with more interfacing and then sewing them onto the bodice. And then I should be ready to go ahead and attach the lining after that. But I'll show you the back strap interfacing and attaching those pieces first. All right, let's jump in. All right, now that I have the lining put in on the back straps, I'm going to attach them to the main bodice, and then I'm going to attach the lining straps to that bodice, and then they should be ready to be put together. Yay! Now that I have prepared the lining and attached the straps as well, I'm going to put these pieces together and then pull them through. So I'm going to pin right sides together so that I can flip it all the way through and leave just the opening at the bottom. Okay, let me show you the progress that I've made. So I put the lining and the outside together. I sewed them all the way around except for at the bottom here so that I could flip it through. Alright, so if you look inside here, you can see this is the inside, and I sewed it all the way around, and then I just reversed it and pushed the ends through so that I can close it up at the bottom. Now, this is all of my basting stitches for the interfacing. So I am pulling out the basting stitches now, and then I am doing the top stitching the edge all the way around. So let me show you how I've started that over here. Okay, so this part is completely finished. I ripped out all of the basting stitches. So But you can see like this one is still hanging out. I got to cut that off. And then I went ahead and started top stitching all the way around just to really give it that nice smooth finish. And it looks really good. And the key to this is just going really, really, really slow. And if you're not sure if you can control the machine, then hand wheel it. And it looks really nice because of that. So I'm just going to keep doing that all the way around, ripping out all the basting stitches and then edge stitching it, top stitching it all the way around as close to the edge as possible to help it lay smooth. And I go back and forth between ironing. It's not absolutely perfect, but it's pretty good. So I'm trying to get it as smooth as possible. So with the help of the iron and pinning it and then edge stitching it down. Okay, so once I have that finished, I'll show you what it looks like and go from there. Now I've got the bias tape finished, so the edge of the bodice part is done, and I am ready to move on to the skirt. So it says stitch skirt front sections together at center front, stitch skirt back sections together at center back, leaving opening above large dots. Okay, I need to mark the dots. Stitch skirt back and skirt front together at sides. Gather upper edge of skirt between small dots as shown. Alright, I have seamed the front and back of the skirt together, and as you can see, I finished the edge with a zigzag stitch. Now I can attach it to the blouse portion. So after I attached the skirt, I went ahead and put in the zipper here because the zipper goes down in the skirt portion and up into the back part, and I have that done. And then I went ahead and attached the buttons. As you can see, I attached one button the opposite way, so I'll go back and fix that. And I have done the fitting of the dress. This dress has been quite the challenge. And after I did the fitting, there were just some changes that I probably should have made to the original pattern before I got into it. So now I'm learning how to alter it, which is, well, challenging to say the least. So what I've done here is I have ripped out the seam line for the waist, and I am moving it up so it's going to have a curve going up. So I've cut like an arch in the front to give it a higher waistline in the front and a lower waistline in the back. And I, because the edge of it has like this sort of detail going all the way around, I am going to add in this to the front so that it still has that detail consistent throughout. And then after I add this portion in, I'm gonna sew it so it's gonna have a higher waistline in the front and go from there. I also added these extra darts because the bodice front wasn't fitted enough. Here is the end result on me. Again, not perfect, but very comfortable and still cute. And of course I'm gonna wear it a lot. Thank you so much for watching. As always, please like, subscribe, comment, and I hope to see you in the next video. Thank you so much.